Hi, Trolls here from 8dio, and in this video we're going to take a look at our brand new 8dio Advanced Drum Series Ragnarok drum kit. This humble little library is over 37,000 samples, and you have a stunningly good drum kit, which is awesome for progressive rock, even pop, fusion, modern jazz, that kind of style. It's a punchy kit, it has a lot of personality, and I can't wait to take through it because it's also very versatile. But before we get into it, let me just describe a little bit about the interface here and all the magical things you can do with it. As you can see here, you have the entire drum set lined out here, and if you click on any element inside of the drum kit here, let's say you want to work with the china here, you can adjust the volume, the pan, the tuning, fine-tuning, attack, decay, and all that stuff. And you can do that per part of the drum kit here, so each individual part here is completely adjustable. And you also notice over here we actually have 3 different snares for the library as well. We have a Tama Bell Brass, a Tama Starphonic, and a Pearl Vinnie Paul. So there's a beautiful selection of 3 deep sample snares. And when we talk about deep sampling this library, it's for real. It's not only that we've deep sampled this beautiful kit, it's also the fact that you actually have multiple microphones lined out in a typical drum engineering fashion, but it's also easy to use. You can see here you got individual mics for kick, snare top, snare bottom, hats, rack, floor tom, cymbals, overheads, room. You also got a trash mic. You can also add reverb and use all the sends up here for all that stuff. And down here, you can do even more configuration. So it's not only that you can do, the configuration down here per section of the kit here, but you can also go back here and do micro adjustments of each individual part. So say you want to take the hi-hats, for example, you want them a little further down the mix on the hi-hat mic, and you can also adjust the pan, the send to the reverb and all that stuff. But you can really go in and dial it heavy. And then on top of that, for each of the mics, you can also go in here and dial in the stereo spread, the EQ, the compression, lo-fi, and reverb. And we also have some additional convolutions down here that you can use. And this is really drum engineering at its finest because you can really customize the kit in so many different ways. And as you're going to hear in this demo, I'm going to be playing a variety of different styles in the drum kit, and you can really get into the specific type of kit you want. So it can be beautiful, acoustic, almost like a jazz-like fusion kit, but it can also be almost like hip-hop and really processed, depending on what style you want and what you're looking for. It's also awesome for just like general pop stuff. But we can talk all day long about drum specs and this and that. Why don't we just listen to the kit? I'm going to be playing a little example here with our default kit. Try to pay attention to the hi-hat. You can hear it somewhat tight in the beginning, and then you can hear how it opens up in gradual stages. We actually have 6 different states of the hi-hat in terms of its closeness and its openness. You can do that gradual transition like when you're doing rock, when you sort of go from tight, and then when you go into the break or into the chorus, you sort of open up the hi-hat. You can do that completely fluently. Let me show you. So with the hi-hat, let me just show you here. So you got the closed, the pedal, the open, and then you got these 3 different stages of open hi-hats. Let me just show you. And of course, this has multiple round robins and a stack of velocity layers. So you can do that super fast, gradual transition, just like this. So it's just one example of how you can make the kit more live when you play it. Those stages are important if you want to have more expressive, not just your standard type of MIDI drumming. Let me show you another kit here just to demonstrate like the versatility of how much you can actually do and how different all the different presets actually sound. Even though they're using the same 37,000 samples drum kit here, there are so many ways you can play it and so many ways you can adjust with all the features down here. And this one here is a little more rock and sort of reggae-like inspired. As you can probably hear, I'm playing a little bit around here with our MB8 splashes here. One of the things I'm missing in a lot of libraries, like it's very easy to do big cymbals, and we obviously have that in this one. We have a variety of like by Sands and Soundcaster stuff, but we also got some of the more tighter crashes and splashes, the MB series, the 10 inches and the 8 inches. And of course for progressive stuff, you got your 22 inches out here and this gorgeous 13 inch by Sands hi-hat as well. One of the things I love about the library is really its versatility, both in terms of being able to play it really tightly, but also more loosely like a real drum kit. I'll give you a couple of examples of that right now, in terms of sort of trying to play it tight in the beginning and then go more loose as we go a little deeper into the drum solo. Isn't it nice? And you can hear that gradual transition into the hi-hat. Let me play the same groove again here, but this time I'll click on the different snares so you can hear how they sound in context to the rest of the kit. Another aspect I love about the kit is also its more sort of jazzy and fusion-like qualities. This one, we really designed all the microphones to have a more acoustic positioning, so not necessarily so tight and modern, but a little more on the acoustic side of things. You can see, particularly with the overheads here, to get that natural bleed between the different microphones here, you get more of that. And I should also mention here, just in terms of true drum engineering, that all these mics here are really isolated in terms of the kick and they're separate part of the snares and so forth. But you can definitely hear the bleed on some of the mics. The tom mics, the floor mic will reveal the rag mics and so forth. And you can definitely hear bleed on the two different snare mics and so forth. We also have a room mic here, which is great if you want to have more of sort of an 80s type of mix, which was done by putting the microphone further back in the room. But let me try and play a more sort of jazzy drum solos kind of thing here. And that's one of the unique aspects about that library as well. We have chokes on all the cymbals, so you can play them in the more free condition, but you can also play them in their choke condition. Let's move on here and try another kit. This is also a little bit in the sort of more soft realm. I love playing reggae with this kit. I don't know why. It's actually not a reggae kit at all, but why not? But it's a really versatile kit. Let me give you another example here of Billy's jeans. It's kind of fascinating. You can take a really modern contemporary drum kit and make it sort of 80s sounding. Let me give you another example here of a little more contemporary version of the kit here using a tight bleed. You're going to see a little more manipulation here of the microphones. We have a little less on the overhead, a little less in the room to make the kit tighter, but it's awesome for sort of more fusion friendly stuff. Isn't it nice? We can also go totally old school, sort of more rock and roll. This is actually one of my favorite presets here. We call it resonance. If you take a look here at the microphone position, you can see there's a fairly good balance here. We have a little more in the snares, but we got a fairly decent amount of overheads and room as well. And when you open all the microphones here in an even state, it allows more of the elements to bleed together, and it's just a fantastic sort of full, rich sound. And it's absolutely perfect sort of classic rock and roll. And you can also do more extreme things like hip hop, or we also have these sort of 8-bit game-like drum kits in it. So yeah, obviously there's a lot you can do with this kit. We've sort of gone through just some of the basics of it, whether it's the fact that it has 37,000 samples and those are really evenly distributed over each of the parts here. And it just allows you, because of the round robin and the velocity layering, to have a really, really full and expressive drum kit. I think a lot of people sort of neglect a lot of the velocity layers. It's easy just to play the kit super hard, but this one is really beautiful down to the softest velocity layers as well. One of the requests we've gotten from the previous library is that people would like to be able to remap. You can actually do that down here. You can remap it to your own drum controller and so forth. And obviously you can adjust everything here. You got the mixer in here as well that really allows you to control each of the microphone positions. You got even more controls down here. And if you want, of course, and a lot of people do that, send it to your favorite compressor, outside contact, whatever it is you want to do in terms of spicing up a kit and making it dial right into a mix. But I hope this video has demonstrated how flexible it is, how easy it is to use. I think there's a lot of beautiful drum plugins out there, but they're super hard to use. It's complicated, and you really got to know your drum engineering to get into it. You actually don't with this library. Everything is fairly easy to use here. It's pretty obvious what's what. And the logic is prevailing through all our 3 drum kit, whether it's our Ragnarok here or our Blackbird or Zeus kit. And with those words of wisdom, or the lack thereof, we're going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I highly encourage you to check out some of our other drum videos as well. Each of the kits have a very different personality, and they're equally deep sampled. So depending on what style you're looking for, find the kit that really works in your mix here. And from my personal point of view, one of the things I'm most proud of with this library is particularly how much attention we paid to the cymbals. I think a lot of people, and the hi-hats as well, they tend to get hissy or they tend to sound like too strong sometimes. This is really balanced recordings of hi-hats and cymbals to a degree I don't think has ever been done. Of course, you got your toms and your snares and all that stuff, but the hi-hat and the cymbals are really, really special to me. They really, really stand out in the most cool way. And of course, we've got a beautiful selection here of snares and bass drum and all that stuff, beautiful toms as well. But there's something about the hi-hats and the cymbals I've never heard in other libraries as well. So hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.